human being. And during yesterday's session, in mathematics, we just, as a matter of factly, we said there is negative infinity and positive infinity. And we were also discussing about Planck's constant, which is the minimum space possible. Then the realization struck us using the maxima minima principle. There is nothing called as negative infinity anymore. Okay? In applied mathematics. In pure mathematics, you can say there is negative infinity or positive infinity. But as far as applied mathematics is concerned, because there is a Planck space, Planck's time, Planck mass, everything, so there is a minimum for everything. So, there is nothing called negative infinity. It was an amazing revelation yesterday, so I was so happy. So this is how the learning journey goes. Okay, I was reflecting upon the whole journey of how this learning happened. I recalled my first interview to become a teaching faculty in an engineering college. So the only question I was asked was, I was thinking they'll ask so many questions, and for how many we will say don't know, don't know, don't know. Okay, that's the imagination with which I went for the interview. And that person, most senior person, the secretary, happened to ask me, why did you come to teaching? I said, I came for learning. So he just signed and said, okay, go collect your appointment letter. So that's all was the interview. There is nothing more he asked. So because why do I teach, I asked myself, again this time when I was called, only purpose is learning. Okay, it happens in two ways. One is, we try to reflect whatever is our experience and learning, and then any question that comes, we don't know what is the question that is coming, but that happens to link up so many kind of missing links. So for that, yeah, big thanks to all of you. Okay, so giving me an audience for almost 6 hours. But I hope there was some learning for you also. Okay. So with that, so today's objective is we said science is only kind of 6 different things, phenomena wise, gravity, electricity, whatever. And if you understand some 16 of them, you can yourself understand anything which is asked. Okay, when you go and read a book, you should be able to understand. So today's session, one is to reinforce that with an example. Like we will all do a design of a lift, okay, considering like it has to carry 6 people, how requirements and how calculations are done. So the base concepts will go into your mind. So maybe that will take an hour or so. And after that, I thought we will do a little shift from science. And there is another reasoning also happened. There was always a question about what is awareness. Like people just throw words like mindfulness, awareness, consciousness. So these kind of things. So within that, if you understand what is past, present, future, okay, so then many things will happen. So maybe we'll start with that question. What in our understanding is present? Because this is something which I searched for a long time. Very simple question. People say past, present, future. It's there in English. Past tense, present tense, future tense. How much is present? Is it 1 second, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 lifetime? So which one is it? So these are very, very simple questions, right? Once we know what is this answer, then you can answer anybody who says, okay, be mindful, be aware, be kind of, whatever. Many words are used interchangeably. You will get a better understanding of it. So that is the second part. And the third will be, depending upon the availability of time, we can take multiple questions. So whenever we have the next session, like we can try to have it. Okay. So that's how it is. So I'll just list the words here. So this is our lookup from now on. Space, time, mass, meters, seconds, kilogram, and then displacement. I'll just list down the words. And these units are very, very important. So always ensure that this is there. And I suddenly recalled, God placed dice, that question, right? Is it in context with the wave particle?
Yeah, he had this big debate with Niels Bohr.
Yeah.
Basically, he said he couldn't believe this simultaneity.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said that basically, அந்த கான்டெக்ட்ல தான் அவர் சொல்றாரு. They had a big fight.
And I got that clarity. It should be in the wave particle, sometimes it is a wave and sometimes it is a particle define பண்ணாங்க இல்லையா? It's not so. That's what we discussed. It's a particle which expands and contracts. Expands and contracts. So it's not that sometimes it's particle, sometimes it's a wave. It's a combination of both. இவ்வளவுதான். இதுக்கு வந்து சம்டைம்ஸ் லைக் திஸ் அப்படின்னா அப்போ அவர் நேச்சுரலாக அவர் என்ன சொல்லுவார், ஏன்னா தூக்கி போட்டு பார்த்து இப்போ பார்ட்டிகுலர் இப்போ வேவ்னர்னு சொல்லுவாரா? பண்ண மாட்டார் இல்லையா? ஸோ தட்ஸ் வாட் இட் மீன்ஸ். Got it? So it's a very simple things, but when people put it in kind of this analogy, we keep the analogy and we don't get the concept. ஆக்சுவலாக இதை டுவாலிட்டினே சொல்லிடக்கூடாது. It's a single phenomena. The whole of quantum mechanics was because the particle changed its shape. That's all. So today I'll get into short form. I don't have to write the whole thing. So that's all we have. Okay. So any problem in science which is asked, you just go back and see any of this you can apply. Yeah, one more thing which I forgot to include is in today's session. That's why this 3 hours would be required. Because many of you are from electronics. There is a word called field. People call it electric field, magnetic field, gravitational field. So do we really understand what a field means? In the context of science. Let's say, I will touch upon this after doing this lift thing, okay? Because it was a pain point for me, because that was the first chapter in electrical. And until we cross that Coulomb's law, I'll just write it here. As far as gravity goes, force due to gravity, force can be caused due to any of the 6 phenomena. Due to sound, due to light, due to electricity, due to magnetism. Like that, due to gravity, it is G m1 m2 by r square. Force due to electricity is given by, do you remember that formula? Coulomb's law? Yeah? Anybody can fill in the blanks? This also I can put capital R, it doesn't make any difference. Okay. So the Coulomb's law and gravitational law both seem to be similar. Coulomb took it from Newton only after around 150 years. Okay. So I was looking at this formula and looking at that formula. Okay. And after breaking my head, trying to read some big books on what is field theory and all that, a slight rearrangement of the formula, 1 by epsilon naught, let it be there. I'll explain all this later. Q1, Q2 by 4 pi r square. If I write like this, then the meaning reveals. Okay, so that's when the concept as a field came in. And what problem it caused between Newton and Coulomb and then Einstein. Okay, so that link we will establish. Of course, I'll show you the articles which I have written also. It was a blog which was written long ago because nobody was interested, so I just dumped it there. Okay, so now let's go into understanding basic this mechanics. Then next we will discuss about the field, and then subsequently what is past, present, future. So this is the 3 objectives which I have for the day. Okay, now let's start with the design of a lift. After doing this, of course, you can ask me what is torque and couple, and of course impulse, impact. These are just words. Sorry. So first, for designing a lift, first is the requirement. How many floors, how many people it has to carry. So step by step we have to go. So what are the first basic criteria? So we always start from very simple assumptions. Let's say, you can see from there? Yeah. Maybe I'll use this space. Let's say first of all we need a platform. Okay. So the platform, and maybe for safety, I'll put a couple of walls. Okay. And if I just leave it like that, will it stay in the same place? I just take some container. If I leave it like that, will it stay in the same place? Like this pen, I have it like this. Nothing is holding. In this case, my hand is holding. If I leave it, it will fall. So this lift is a container, if you visualize, just by itself, in nature, it will not stay in the same place. So for that, what should we do? So I have to have some crossover, and then initially from the top concrete or something, I have to, this means fix it. And imagine this is a rope, and I am then hanging it. If this rope is not there, the tendency of this is to naturally fall. Okay. So now let's say we are planning it for 5 people at a time. Okay. So what is the inputs that we take? Each person weighs how much kilogram? Let's say if I go and stand on a kind of a weighing scale, what is the reading does it show? Some 50, 60, 100 depending upon how much we are. So average for calculation purposes, we will say it is 50 kilograms per person. These are all assumptions. 50 kg mass per person. Whether this is mass or weight, this 50 kilogram that I am writing, is it mass or weight? It is weight, correct. Because when I am there, the gravity is pulling me, then that is reflecting with the acceleration of 9.81 meters per second square. This is built in. Okay. So if I have to represent in newtons, okay, I am just putting it as kilogram, but in all science, it is good if you convert into Newton as the unit. So just for mathematics simplification, instead of 9.81, I am assuming 10. Okay. So let's say 10 is the acceleration. Okay. This is built into this. So if I want in newtons, I just multiply by 10. So every person is 500 newtons. Very simple. Okay. So what is the total now? 2500 newtons is what is the weight. Okay. So in order to support this, I need to have a frame, some metal, all that, which doesn't deform, maybe wood or whatever availability. Assume that is another some 500 newtons. Okay. So plus, this is for people and this is for the platform. I'll say 500 newtons. So total is 3000 newtons. So first of all, I need a system which can support 3000 newtons. Okay. So I am taking a rope and then attaching it to it and then allowing it to hang. Okay. So this is when 2500 Newton, 3000 newtons is acting downwards. So what should I do to keep it in same place? I should somehow give in opposite direction 3000 newtons so that it remains in the same place. That's the idea. Okay. This Newton itself is a combination of mass into acceleration. So acceleration is 10. Mass is the remaining 300. Okay. So either you can say force should balance or acceleration should balance. Acceleration is a single word. So you say I give either equal and opposite acceleration, or alternatively, if you are convenient imagining mass times acceleration, you can say forces should be equal. So this is Newton's third law. For any object to be in rest, you need equal and opposite forces. Okay? As simple as that. So now, by providing equal opposite kind of forces or acceleration, we have got the lift to rest. Now, what is the next logical step? We need to move it up. Move it up through what distance? Let's say our building, every kind of floor is, let's say, 3 meters. So we need to travel 3 floors. So that is, we need to travel 12 meters. Okay. So this height h is, we are assuming there are 1, 2, 3. Each one is 3 meters. Or maybe like, okay, totally. H is 9 meters. Okay. So initially we understood what is force, equal and opposite force just for rest. Now the next step is we need to know how far it has to go. Okay. So from that I understand what is the amount of work that has to be done. Force into displacement along the line of application of force. Okay. So now number wise, what is the work that is required? 3000 into 9. That is equal to 9 3s 27, followed by, or I call it as joules. Okay. So this is the amount of work that I have to do. Okay. Next one. Motors. When you want to buy, let's say we want to fix an electric motor, hydraulic motor, or whatever motor, what is the rating of the motor which you see it on the number plate? It's in watts or kilowatts, which means power. So once you want to know what is the power of the motor, you should know how fast you have to do this work. Right? So I need to travel 9 meters. So in how many seconds, based on our experience, we will travel 3 floors or 9 meters? Can you give me some number in seconds? 30 seconds. Okay. So every 3 meters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, max 5 seconds plus 4. That's all it takes. Okay, 5, 3, 15. Okay, so you know what is the work. So how do you calculate what is the power required? Divided by time. Rate of doing work per second, how much? Okay, so if I divide this, now what I have to calculate the power. I'll say by 15 seconds, that will be, or maybe for ease of calculation, we will keep it as 20. Okay, so this goes away, and then this is 1350 Newton meter per second, that is watts. Okay, so now 1.35 kilowatt. So you understood how motor selection is done? As simple as that. First principles. First you start, you have almost all the words come here. You have calculated what is the mass, then the weight, then the acceleration, what is the force, Newton's third law. Then you apply the concept of work. Then you see what is the rate at which you want the lift to move. For us, 3 feet it is okay. But if you want to go to Burj Khalifa, which is like 90 floors or close to a kilometer, and this is a very, very slow thing. Okay. So if you put lesser number, what will happen here? This will increase. So you need a very high power motor to activate the same thing. Okay. So now we have chosen 1.35 kilowatt motor is what I required. In very, very simple terms. Directly I connect the rope to the pulley, I switch on, it should be able to do. Okay. So now now the engineer's job. What they will try to do is, I want to keep on reducing this power. Okay. Just because this calculation give me, is this the minimal? This is the question which we always ask. Minimize or maximize? Minimize spending, maximize profit. Always people ask these two questions. So how do I minimize the motor power from this situation? Just do a little thinking. You would have seen naturally there is one small trick with which you can almost reduce some 0.35 kilowatts from there. Yeah, superb. Gearbox is one. Anything else? Hydraulic, electric, pneumatic, anything can be used. Have you heard about the, because I didn't touch upon the concept of friction, that also we will be touching in this, but that's not the solution here. Have you heard about something called as a counterweight? So let's say there is some kind of a pulley here, there is some kind of a pulley here, there is a rope here, there is rope here. I put 5 kg here, I put 5 kg here, they don't move. They remain in the same place, right? This logic of counterweight, you would have seen in the lifts when you go. When we go up, there will be something coming down. Okay, how much will that be? Just make a guess. I'll give a clue. What are the variables? What are the fixed things? Yes. Super. So this weight of this rope and weight of this cabin, whatever it is, that is one which is constant. So what we can do is, that contributed to 500. So what people will do is, you put a 500 kg, or sorry, 500 Newton here. Sorry. 500 Newton counterweight there. So you don't have to lift that. That is balanced by itself. Okay. Straight away you can reduce 500 from here. So if you reduce that 500 from here, what will happen? So instead of 3000, this will become 2500. 2500 into 9 will be, somebody help me with calculation. Okay, so 22,500 divided by the same 20. So what is that number coming to? Which one? 1? Okay, so straight away you reduce the power required. So that is why the what you call counterweight is used. Okay, so somebody said, okay, what is the next step that we will do? How do you minimize the power still? Somebody said gearbox. By using a gearbox, can we reduce the power? Is it possible? Electrical engineering, long back. Decrease what? Yeah. Okay. Now we will introduce that formula. Okay. Do you remember this formula? Power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. Okay. What we can derive, but for now, let it be like that. So now you will ask me a question, what is torque? Okay. So N is on top, torque is on top. Okay. So if power has to remain constant, if speed increases, what will decrease? If I have to balance this, let's say my power is 1 kilowatt. Okay. This 2 pi by 60, let's say it's a constant. Okay. This is 0.2 or something like that. So this is a constant. It cannot change. There is only two parameters, N and T. N is RPM, T is torque. If I increase the RPM, if my power remains same, torque should increase or decrease? Reduce. That's all. So you cannot change the power of the motor. Only thing is, if you want more torque, you reduce the RPM. If you want more RPM, reduce the torque. You cannot change the power of the motor. Is that simple? That's all. Okay. So I have to tell you what torque is. So what did we discuss about moment? Any of you remember? What is the meaning of moment? Force into, imagine the lever, seesaw. Yeah, perpendicular distance. Use the word perpendicular distance. Force into perpendicular distance. Torque is also, let's say there is a wheel. You are applying a force like this, and then there is a radius. F into R, force into perpendicular distance. That's called torque. So then why do they use moment and torque as two different words? In statics, F into perpendicular distance is called moment. In rotation, if your objective is to keep rotating something, then you use the word called torque. That is the only difference. Okay, it depends on the objective. If I want to keep something at rest, then you say moment. When you want to rotate something with the same principle, then call it as torque. Then what is the meaning of couple? Now some of you should be able to relate. That's also measured in Newton meters. Yes, somebody said? Not equal and opposite, which means it will be in rest. If I pull like this, the steering, and pull like this, the steering, it will come to rest. Both of them will nullify. Instead, in a steering, what do we do? This side like this side like this. Yeah, so you aid, two, couple. So in this, when this is acting down, this is acting up. F, 2F into perpendicular distance. That's why 2, couple. So moment, torque and couple are three words which are used. Okay. In a steering, you will say it's a couple. But in a belt drive, chain drive, whatever, it's only one direction. And your purpose is rotation, so you call it as torque. Okay. So now, your choice of a gearbox is basically to provide sufficient torque or sufficient RPM. Okay. So, why RPM is important here? When people manufacture motors, they'll give you a power rating and also give you an RPM rating. Okay, let's say AC motor or a DC motor. AC is generally, you see a 1 HP motor will always be rated like this. It will be running at 1440 RPM. If you plug into the power source and start it, by default, that is the RPM at which it will rotate. If it rotates at 1440 RPM, we all will be thrown out. Okay? Or alternatively, it may not have sufficient torque. So what we need, what is the velocity that we have discussed here? 9 meters in 20 seconds. Can somebody give me what is the velocity? 9 by 20 is how much? 0.2 somewhere. 1 by 20. 0.4 யாராவது கால்குலேட்டர் தான் போட்டு அவ்வளோ வருதா வந்தால் சரி அப்புறமா தப்பு சொல்லாதீங்க ஓகே ஐ எம் யுவர் இன் மென்டல் மேத் எனிவே fine. So this is the velocity. So now we will introduce, that's all we need. Okay. Now we will introduce one more calculation. The lift is stationary. Now it has to reach this velocity. From zero velocity, it has to reach that velocity. How fast do we reach that velocity? For example, if the lift is here, from here to here, it will accelerate, zero velocity, it has to reach 0.45, keep on traveling at the same rate, and then decelerate by 0.45 again. From that to zero, decelerate and stop. Now we have to find out how long do we do this to accelerate. Understood? The change in velocity, you should also find a time. Because the choice of lift, we saw in an exhibition, like in most of the lifts, like when we go and stand and press the button, you find a jerk. Okay? If the best of the lifts, you will not even know that it has taken. Okay? It will be so smooth. So, how much is the smoothness? Whether I should do it in 0.1 second, I do it in 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds. So, this is what matters.
That's done by trial and error.
It's, okay, one thumb rule is, anything more than gravitational acceleration, okay, is called a jerk. Okay, and that acceleration has to be very, very smooth. So based on that, they arrive at the acceleration. You cannot go above the gravitational acceleration 10 value. So that's the max limit. Min limit depends on the application. Okay, say in a hospital, but the way ambulance people drive, they don't know. It looks like their objective is to kill the guy before they reach, right? The speed and I don't know. I used to visualize like how it will be lying down in an ambulance with that siren and like with our roads and the speed and stuff like that. Anyway, in a hospital, you need to achieve minimum jerk. But in a normal transportation situation, it's okay. Little jerk is fine. But the best of the things, it will not be so. We can see some of you can Google and see what are the normal acceleration in a lift. Okay? But for our understanding, like this we had a Gus, right? In 5 seconds we should be able to go. Like that, from 0 to 0.45, what is the amount of time it will take? It will be hardly, yes, a second or two maximum. Within a second it should reach there. So, change in velocity. What is the acceleration? A is V final minus V initial divided by time. So, V final is 0.45 meters per second minus V initial is 0, and the time we can say just like that it can take off, or in 2 seconds it can take off. So logic wise it looks 1 second is okay. So, or maybe for mathematics we will put 2 seconds. So this will be 0.225 will be the acceleration. So at what rate it is accelerating? This much. In what velocity it's moving? What is that? 0.45 meters per second. The deceleration again, same time. So you have understood what is the power of the motor. So that's how the whole these things fit into picture. So what are the words we have seen with this simple example? Displacement. What are the criteria for rest? Newton's third law. We discussed about velocity. We discussed about acceleration. Where is momentum happening here in the lift? Constant velocity motion. Mass into velocity will give you momentum. Mass into acceleration will give you force. And then we discussed about work. From there we discussed about power. So why do these people use, will they use, okay, moment we will come to. Now we will fix up potential energy and kinetic energy. When will those things be used? In a lift? Like if you have seen below the lift surface, you can see some springs that they have kept. Have you observed? Why do they have those springs? What is the size of the spring they will have? Like in a train carriage, you will see the springs, huge coils, which are responsible for that beautiful music, like that. So it comes from the springs and the length of the track. From the music of the train, you can determine what is independent length of your railway tracks. Guess why? Simple. Yeah. So on the track, there is a gap, and then you will see these two springs here next to each other. And when this hits on this, tadak, then after a gap, then tadak. So these two tadak tadaks, if you put it in musical software, it's so beautiful. By varying the length of the track and then varying the speed of the train, you will get beautiful music. And why do they give the gap? Expansion, contraction. Now I hear there is a new technology where they don't even need that. In the modern, I think 2 years back or so, some invention happened, and they don't even need these kind of things. Maybe in future they will find a technology where they don't ship tracks anymore. They will have a molten whatever thing on a vehicle. As it goes, it can possible. Like how they are building bridges, right? You have seen how they build bridges. The Chinese guys, like amazing. One truck will go, fill, and they'll go the other side and go. So like that, even track laying. So that's where the technology-wise world is going. Like you take everything, just go and fill the iron ore, and then run the vehicle. Like how tar roads are made, something like that. So if that happens, then you don't need your gaps and fillings and all that anymore. Okay. Okay. So now coming to why potential energy is required. So what they will always try to assess is, in worst case scenario, if this happened to cut off, what will happen to my ground? Okay. So then what will be the potential energy now? How do you calculate potential energy? It's there. So whatever work we did will be stored in the lift as potential energy. If it's at full height of the third floor, then this will be the number. Okay. If it's just in first floor, the potential energy will be less because the amount of work done is less. Okay. So they will always assume from top of the place, hopefully when there are no people, for some reason this gets cut off. Okay. What is the damage that it can cause? Okay. It will be equivalent to amount of work that you have put. So which will be equal to 27 kilojoules. That is the amount of energy, potential energy. Same number will come when it hits the surface. What will be the impact it will create? So you calculate the velocity at which the lift will come and hit the bottom. So that also will give the same number. You will just put half mv square. That again will be same kinetic energy, which again will be the same number. So you are doing work. When is it at rest? What is the potential? When it is traveling, what is the potential? So once they know this potential energy value, accordingly they will design the spring so that at that rate, when it comes and hits here, the spring can deform and hold it without hitting the ground. So this is how it works. Okay? So this is something which I wanted to explain and connect the usage of all these keywords. Now you can extend this example to anything. You can say I want to design a tractor with a trailer in a horizontal surface. So okay, the one beautiful experiment we did was, we are always fascinated by the trains. How is that one small engine pulling some 100, right? So we asked this question. So there was no immediate answer. So then we went to the railway station. If you want, I'll run that video. We did all the experiment in-house. You want to watch? So we were discussing about vertical. I'll show you how the horizontal was done. Anna, idu. So that's something which we did. If we didn't understand something, maybe it is because we don't have sufficient knowledge to read it and understand from the books. Though the words are same, somebody who have read would have understood. But the problem for us is, like the same word, we don't understand the literal meaning of what is mentioned there. So we resort to experimentation. So that's how this experimentation came. The screen போட்டுருங்கண்ணா. நெட் வரல. பாஸ்வேர்ட் போடலையோ? HDMI. It's about almost 15 minutes. Okay, I'll also remind me, I'll share you some of very good resources and lectures which you can attend. Maybe I'll give you the link straight away, like Walter Lewin from MIT. No signal. One Krish Ramamurthy from Yale University, and one more on chemistry. Like each one will be a 36-hour lecture. Don't bother whether you understood everything or not, but just go through each of the lectures, because 36 into 3, that is the amount of time you will be spending, but it's worth the effort. Because this Walter Lewin will be explaining the classical mechanics side. Yale University Krish Ramamurthy will be doing the relativity and quantum physics side. And this lady, I'm not getting her name, I'll give you the link. The best of chemistry I've watched so far. So, like step by step, like how electron was discovered, proton was discovered, what was there previously, what experiments they did. Amazing sequence. Okay. So these 100 hours. So find time, amazing stuff. Okay. So this is some experiment that we did. It's all short with. So we bought this train from this Hamleys, and then the first thing which we did was, wagons usually are arranged one behind the other. Why are they stacked one above the other? Why should someone do that? So it's just a dumb question. Okay, why am I going horizontal? Why? What will happen if I put one on top of the other? Just for the sake of kind of twisting the question so that all the clarity will come in. And this was an amazing, lucky model that we got. It's not a toy, it's a model. You know what is the difference between toy and a model? After doing this experiment only we understood. Yeah, miniature of the real stuff with same proportion, same power calculations, everything is the model. Toy is just it will do it, but it need not be the same. Volume. Yeah. So for this, one second, let me make it bigger. Pause. Yeah. So then there was this interesting question. How steep do trains climb? We did a little bit of research and you can see the gradients. Okay. So for roads, normal roads, what is the kind of maximum inclination that people can give? Going horizontal, we don't reach the top. Next choice is going straight up by using a lift. Okay. But if I have to use a lift, I need something from top which is pulling. Okay. But we are going in an inclined way. But you cannot climb like beyond a specific angle. 1 in 30. Any other? What is the reasoning behind that? It could be any number. You are closer. The number is closer. But the scientific reason is there is something called angle of friction. Okay? If I keep, yeah. This duster stays there right now. Okay. But if I keep on lifting, you can observe the angle. At some point it will start moving by itself. Okay. So this is the angle below which they have to plan a uphill. Reason why? What is the logic? I drive uphill, I park the vehicle. If it is, let's imagine this is the parked vehicle. If the slope is like that, it will keep skidding. You can't stop it. Okay, it's because of the concept of friction. So this surface which is there holds it like that. But if you lift it beyond a specific point, it cannot hold anymore and it by default starts moving. So this is the reason for a specific amount of slope. So for train, it's metal. So it cannot be 25, 30 as I said. It should be much less because it's metal to metal and there is no gear. So that's when we wanted to get into this one. Anything above 9 will have the chain wheels. Not even 9, it's much less. All this will have gear wheels which will propel. So that's what we found. Yeah, Nilgiri gradient itself is 12 to between that. For those kind of gradients, you don't have a choice. You have to have a gear wheel. So asking a very simple question leads us into understanding so many different things. That's the moral of the story actually. Then only the engine we took and then tried this one. Just building a track with ourselves. Horizontally it goes. So we wanted to find out at what angle it starts slipping. And this was a very simple experiment which was done inside the lab. So this is validated. So can it hold that much? Then the next step is like we are trying to find what is the center of mass of the train. Where should it lie? Either it should lie outside, either it should lie forward. So where does it lie? This has a very, very crucial impact between a toy train and a model train. Toy train's position is different. Okay, this is another question which came up. Like, I am a human being. What is the weight I can lift? I am 70 kgs. Is there a relationship? Can I lift more than 70 kgs? So that kind of a question we asked, and that is the report that you get. Okay? So just trying to reason how much I can lift, how much I can push. So it will be, the percentage will be, you can see there. If I am 100 kgs, maximum I can push 70 kgs. Okay? So this ratio, we got it. So similar thing should happen for the train also. So this is all the research, basic research that we went. And this was one of the very, very interesting insights. Paul Hewitt, his physics books are very, very authoritative, as good as Resnick Halliday or Richard Feynman. But one problem happened when I was researching this. He was doing a video, and it happened so that whatever he is claiming here did not happen in our experiments. Okay? So with this guy, what happened was, he just assumed in theory that this is how it will work. But in reality, we did all the experiments because we believed this guy, and found finally that what he claims is wrong. Okay, these are all surprises that you get. That's why we never believe what is written in the book. Because the words that they use need not necessarily be right is one thing, need not necessarily be understood by us is another thing. It could be either way. So what he's trying to say is there is a train going and he's sleeping. In sleeping, he's getting that tadak tadak sound. Apart from that, when it breaks, one after the other is slamming. That is his claim. After that, what he's saying is when the train starts, the first one pulls the second one, and the second one pulls the third one. Like that, it pulls one after the other. And he is claiming this concept of pulling one after the other is the main reason for it. Okay, but that was not the case. That was not required. He was saying first the train pulls the first wagon. So the engine and this mass adds up. Then the third one is pulled. That adds up. That kind of a reasoning he was giving. So that is one which kindled the curiosity. So our commonsensical said it cannot be so. But we can also be wrong. Until we do the experiment, we will not know whether it is correct or not. It was all done with open experimentation. Yeah, so then we went to the railway station here, our Coimbatore railway station, and tried to analyze we wanted to know what is the engine's weight, what is the engine's power. Only then we can calculate all that. And second reason was to go and find out whether that phenomena, what he described, happens there. Okay, during experiment itself, that didn't happen. So that could be found using the loco number. Each of the number in that locomotive, that specifies whether it is a passenger train, goods train, electric train, diesel train. All that is defined within that few numbers. So there's an amazing, and you can see the number of volts. It operates at around how much? 10,000, 1 lakh. Huge power consumption. So how the trains are coupled, all this had to be analyzed to arrive at this. And very interesting phenomena we observed. And a diesel train was analyzed, passenger train. Then we thought, okay, maybe there is a difference between passenger train and express train. So everything was taken into factor. And after this, our theoretical background was so good those days. So then we went and said, apart from trains which was on the rails, are there something happening on the road? Okay, so then we understood there are something called as road trains in Australia. And in Australians and Americans and Europeans, they always spend too much money and they do grandiose, okay? But we also found, okay, in India, and specifically in Punjab, people always have a knack of doing great things with small resource, okay? Even in China. So you see this train, this is another Australian train which runs on the road. It was an eye-opener. We can't even imagine running such trucks in our road. Okay, so then next comes the beauty. Not this. These were all done for doing multiple analytics, like what is the weight of each wagon, what is the weight of that and stuff like that. But the important aspect is the next one which you will see. Come on. Yeah. We are there. Not this. Yeah, this one. You can see this is what happens in India. A tractor, and you see it requires only 2 wheels. They don't even depend upon the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 or 11 comes behind. This was amazing local improvisation. And we also went to our this mall and saw if there is a difference in the way toy trains are configured. There again, is there a rigid coupling or a loose coupling? So loose couplings are not required, rigid will do. Okay? Because from day one, it can start pulling. It's not that you have a loose coupling, one attaches another like that. And then first experiment did with the toy train, and then starting and analyzing and measuring, like putting one compartment after the other, and then all the weight put into one bogie instead of spreading the weight, and then weighing each one, how many grams, like we did for the lift, mass into acceleration, those formulas, step by step. And these were all done for timing. 3 times more than the engine weight is what was possible to be carried, and that was the limit. And then using all these formulas to validate whether all these things are matching. And finally, we applied it for engine plus 23 bogies. For that, we had to understand what is the terrain. This train happened to travel from Trivandrum to Hyderabad. So on uphill there was a different parameter, on a downhill there was a different parameter. All this was taken into account. And then finally we did all the comparison and then established that, like all this logic. Then finally it came, the engine weight should be within 10%, at least 10% of the total connected load because of friction and all that stuff. So somehow they have to increase the mass of the front engine, and that whole thing worked out as a final summary. We did all this localized instruments to measure each and every factor within each bogie, what is the pulling and all that. So we can't spend too much money. It's all with available tweaking and all that stuff, and the comparison was done finally to arrive at model train versus big train and what is the ratio. So this is the kind of effort that goes into like the experimental validation of things that we don't understand. Okay. So this is something which I found. Why I showed you this was, unless we do experiments, it's very, very difficult to understand certain things, like the instantaneous velocity example which we gave yesterday. Until we measured instantaneous velocity was only theory. After measuring, we knew, okay, there is a little cheating we have to do, which gives the displacement, so you can measure the velocity. Same way, this one also, like this we had done a few things. Even to understand Euclidean geometry, we just did, maybe next time I come, I bring those two experiments. Just with 3 scales and protractor, you can explain what is straight line, parallel, perpendicular, then use it as a kind of civil engineers, whatever you call it, level measuring, all those concepts will come with that. And one more law of falling bodies experiments we did. I'll bring it and show you, only then you will understand how beautifully it transpired. That experiment was conducted to demonstrate law of falling bodies. After 1 year, we realized all these 6 concepts like gravity, electricity, electronics, light, sound, everything was built into that single box. So we starting the class from that box itself. So demonstrate law of falling bodies and say these are the 6 different forms of energy. And also, okay, because I use this word energy, many times when we go and ask what are the different forms of energy, people tend to say there is, what is it, solar energy, wind energy, nuclear energy, not coal, all thermal, all that. So henceforth, for learned people, we always should say the gravitational, electric, magnetic, light, sound and heat. So this is the basis. So from wind, we are generating, that's a mechanical form. From sun, we are generating, that is a form of light. From coal, we are generating, that's a form of heat. So because of that, when somebody asks what are the different forms of energy, these are the 6 forms of energy, apart from nuclear. Nuclear is the 7th. Okay, that is something which I also have to touch. Like you asked, what are they? 4 fundamentally, that also I'll discuss. So how do we differentiate those 2, so you get an idea. Okay. Yeah. Appadan thukit. Okay, I'll explain now because you've seen that video. What he claimed was, between each bogie, there should be a loose coupling. This should not be rigidly attached. So what happens is, the engine starts, it has sufficient inertia so that it pulls the second. So the first and second becomes one now. The third one is loose. So slowly it comes and that also attaches. So these 3 masses go together. So that was his claim in that video. But we went and analyzed, none of the trains had a loose coupling. Everything was tight. At the instant, everything moves. Got it? So this is one I wanted to show. Then some of you who have not seen this, maybe please watch this video. We did one on how education system is Chinese whispers. So that was a thing which was done with little school children. And having come here, I also want to show you one of the blog. Yep. ஆமா எதுமா ஒன்று மேலே வைக்கிறதா சிஜி ப்ராப்ளம் தான் சிஜி ப்ராப்ளம் தென் ரோட்ஸு like caves, whatever is there, like you have a 12 meter height, 6 meter height. One is flipping, but second is you have the ceiling. Yeah. No, it doesn't happen like that. That's what he claims. இது எப்படி இது அப்சர்வ் பண்ணீங்கன்னு தெரியல. ஏன்னா அந்த டாய் ட்ரெயின் காமிச்சேன்ல, அதில் பக்கத்தில் போய் பார்த்துட்டோம். எல்லா ட்ரெயின்லையும் பக்கத்தில் போய் பார்த்துட்டோம். எங்கேயுமே உங்களுக்கு அந்த லூஸ்னஸ் கிடையாது. If at all there is a looseness, it will be that hardly half or 1 mm. And the clearance for putting that this one. But when it stops, அது போய் ஏறி தான் நிற்கும். யூ கேன் அப்சர்வ் இட் அகேன் பிகாஸ் யா கரெக்ட். இட்ஸ் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் இனர்ஷியா. இது வால்டர் லூயனில் பார்க்கும்போது இட் வாஸ் அமேசிங். ஓகே, ஒரு பலூன் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட் பண்ணியிருப்பார். ஐ ஜஸ்ட் ட்ரை டு சி இஃப் ஐ ஹேவ் தட் ஒன் பிகாஸ் இட்ஸ் அமேசிங். ஒரே செகண்டு கிடைக்குதான்னு பார்க்குறேன், இல்லைன்னா நான் உங்களுக்கு லிங்க் அனுப்புகிறேன். யா, ஐ ஹேவ். What happened? இல்லை விஎல்சியில் போட்டு பார்க்கலாமா? ஓப்பன் வித் ஐ டின் இன்ஸ்டால். யா, இட்ஸ் விண்டோஸ் மீடியா பிளேயரில் வருதான்னு பார்ப்போம். இது வால்டர் லூயன் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட், பியூட்டிஃபுல் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட். What happened? ஆடியோ ஃபைல் அது. Let me try this. சரி, ஓகே, I'll try to show you. கூகுள் அடிச்சு பார்க்கலாம் வருதானே. வால்டர் லூயன் balloon acceleration experiment. Today learning has become so easy. If you want to know something, just go to Google and then search it off. Balloon Newton's lectures. It's a long one. It's a long one. சரி, நான் அப்புறமா எடுத்து தரேன். அது சூப்பராக இருக்கும். So I'll ask you a question. Let's see if you are able to guess. Okay. Imagine you are traveling in a car. ஒரு ஆப்பிள் is hung. முன்னால் அந்த கண்ணாடியிலிருந்து ஒரு ஆப்பிள் தொங்க விட்டுருக்குறாங்க. ஓகே, யூ ஆர் கோயிங் இன் கான்ஸ்டன்ட் வெலாசிட்டி அண்ட் தென் யூ ஆர் சடன்லி ஸ்டாப்பிங் த கார். ஓகே, இன் விச் டைரக்ஷன் த ஆப்பிள் வில் மூவ், வெதர் இட் வில் கோ ஃபார்வர்ட் ஆர் பேக்வர்ட்? யூ ஆர் ட்ராவலிங் அண்ட் தென் ஸ்டாப்பிங். ஐ எம் நாட் ஆஸ்கிங் ஸ்டார்டிங். யூ ஆர் ட்ராவலிங் அட் சே 40 kilometers per hour and then suddenly you are stopping. Will the apple go forward or backward? Forward. Now, instead of apple, same question, you replace the apple with a balloon. Okay, air-filled balloon or say helium balloon. Which way will the balloon go? Will it go forward or backward? Because I am asking this question, logical 2-mark question, you can say backward. Okay, why? Backward is the answer. It won't go forward. Why balloon is coming backward? Lesser? Fantastic. Because of that, what happens? Inertia is what's happening? ஓகே, இது எப்படி விஷுவலைஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்கன்னா, ஆன்சர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கரெக்டு. விஷுவலைசேஷன் எப்படி பண்ணிக்கலாம்னா, ஹீலியம் இஸ் லெஸ் டென்சர் தென் ஏர் மாலிக்யூல்ஸ். Because of inertia, the air molecules go forward faster than the balloon. When the air molecules go forward, it will start hitting them from this side. So the balloon comes back. So in the visualization, அதாவது எந்த ஒரு question இருந்தாலும், one is words, like the answers you gave were perfect, but try to visualize what's really happening. Okay, because we came to that, I need one more piece of small paper, long paper. யாருக்கா? Yeah, சொல்லுங்க. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Initial one. That's called static friction and kinetic friction. Two things are there. இப்போ ஏதோ ஒன்று இப்போ காரே இருக்கு, நின்றுட்டு இருக்கிற காரை தள்ளணும்னா யூ நீட் சே 3-4 people. Once the vehicle starts moving, then you need lesser people. This problem is because of the frictional force. There is something called a static due to the whole mass. ஃபார்முலா எழுதி போடுறேன், அப்போ உங்களுக்கு புரிஞ்சிடும். அதுக்கு முன்னால் இது ஒன்று காமிச்சிடுறேன். This is something very, very simple experiment which I didn't know the answer for a very, very long time. So this paper is here. Okay, I blow it here. The paper goes up. But now what I'll do is I'll blow it on top. What's happening? I blow it down, the paper comes up. I blow it on top, still the paper comes up. So what is the reason? How do you visualize this phenomena? That's why I again and again use the word, how do you visualize? Pressure, yeah, correct? Yeah, Bernoulli's, correct. The words are correct. Just try to describe how are you creating Bernoulli's principle. What does it say? Yeah, correct. How do you get high and low pressure? Low லந்து அது இங்க அது நடக்கலையே. Some other thing is happening. Correct. சரி, ப்ரெஷர்னா என்ன? Specific area. What force is acting on what area? Now let's get to that, because pressure is a word which compasses force and area. What is exerting the force on which area? Super. Air. Okay, now I'll just sum it up. You just hold it like this. There are air molecules this side, there are air molecules this side also. When I blow here, the air that is coming from my mouth is perpendicular to this. It's hitting here and then it is taking it up. When I'm blowing on top, what's happening is, before I blow, the air molecules are hitting in all these places. But the time I blow, this air which is coming from my mouth is carrying all the air molecules which are there and draining it away and not allowing it to hit in this direction. So there is more people hitting in this direction. That's why you get the lift. You get the visual now? So, I'm blowing here. What I'm doing is, whatever air molecules are here, because of force in this direction, I'm carrying away all the air molecules. Whatever air molecule is coming in from my mouth, it is going in this direction. It's not hitting in this direction. So all are removed. But here, these people are hitting like this. So this is getting lifted. So this is what I mean by visualization. எதை சொன்னாலும் நீங்க சொன்ன ஆன்சர் எல்லாமே கரெக்ட். யூ செட் ப்ரெஷர், இம்பேலன்ஸ், கரெக்ட். பெர்னாலி, எஸ், திஸ் இஸ் வாட் பெர்னாலிஸ் பிரின்சிபல். Not necessarily, it could be any surface. I just took a paper because with air pressure I can demonstrate. Same. That's what they do. Okay, so simple things we can understand so much of phenomena. See, once you know heat is just vibration of molecules, amount of vibration of molecules, you can understand so many things. Okay, I want to touch upon. Is it time for a break? I need to add few more concepts because these things. Okay, I'll list down what is missing. A few topics which I want to cover it up. Very basic in thermodynamics. You have these words which you have to know called specific heat. Specific heat, latent heat, enthalpy, entropy. These 4 words I wanted to just connect from this first principles. So if like this any words are there, please let me know. Like I can try to, now we can derive everything from first principles. What is that? Specific heat, latent heat, enthalpy, entropy. Okay, so I just leave it there so that we don't miss out any of the concept. So this thing is clear? Okay, so now because we have another 15 minutes, I thought I'll clear off this, what is this field thingy? Okay, so we'll do that. You had some question? Hello, கேள்வி கேட்க வந்தீங்க? இல்ல, ஓகேவா? பிகாஸ் பெர்னாலி கேட்டதுனால யாருக்காவது படிச்சது பெர்னாலிஸ்லாம் ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? ஒரு வருஷமா ஒவ்வொருத்தராக போய் கேட்டேன் என்னதுன்னு 3 வரும். ப்ரெஷர் எனர்ஜி, கைனடிக் எனர்ஜி, பொட்டன்ஷியல் எனர்ஜின்னு 3 டேர்ம் வரும். ஓகே, திஸ் ஹோல் சம் LHS should be equal to RHSன்னு வரும். The conflict I had was, if there is pressure, that is what will cause kinetic energy. Then why 2 things are given? If there is extra pressure, automatically that's going to contribute to kinetic energy. Then why I am taking pressure again? So this was the question. Generally அதோட இதை எப்படி காமிப்பாங்கன்னா, இங்கே ஒரு பைப் இருக்கும், எவ்வளோ ஹெட் இருக்கோ, this is potential energy. Whatever velocity with which this parcel of water is moving, they call it as kinetic energy. And then they say, here there is pressure energy also. So there is head, there is pressure, there is kinetic energy. So the confusion that I got was, if any of you have read it, if you are clear with this, Bernoulli's equation. இந்த 3 டேர்ம் தான் வரும் அதில். யாருக்காவது அதுக்கு ஆன்சர் தெரியுமா? How pressure and kinetic energy are related? Very simple. பட் யாரையும் போய் கேட்டு இதுதான் கேட்டுக்க முடியலனால 1 வருஷம் ஆச்சு கிராக் பண்ணுற கதையை. சரி, சொல்லிடுறேன். I'll give a clue. You have to find out. Okay. The difference is, this can be either a cold water or a hot water. That's the clue. That's why pressure term is coming in. What's the difference between hot or cold? So what is hot or cold? The independent energy of each molecule, right? I have a more energetic molecule inside, hot water, which means I have to add the pressure term. So my hot water molecules can travel with velocity v, 5 meters per second. My cold water molecules can also travel at the same 5 meters per second. That's why the pressure term is coming. Understood? The thermal level of what fluid is there is what is adding this pressure component. Yeah. Viscosity term potential energy la vandrum adellame, because that will put so much of force on the system. The pressure components is basically because of the thermal quality of the same thing. So you can now imagine it could be any, you take hot water and open the tap and regulate it for 5 meters per second velocity. The total energy is this kinetic energy plus all the energy of the independent molecules. So that is the first term. This is not, to my knowledge, written in any book. It's derived, and you will say pressure term, energy term, head term, you total get 5 marks, 10 marks, it will all go, but visual won't be there. Simple things tha, other than the, only when to get to the practice or application we will understand. அதாவது ஹீட் வந்து எனர்ஜி ஆஃப் த மாலிக்யூல்ஸ்னே தெரியலன்னா இந்த ஆன்சர்லாம் வரவே வராது. புக்கை படித்து படித்து மனப்பாடம் பண்ணணும். Okay, so now let us take a little journey into understanding what is the concept of field. Okay, so you understand what is force? Very clear. Okay, mass which is accelerating, you give it a word because of two words, you say force. Okay, alternatively you also say change in momentum. This is something which I'll tell you after I finish this one. Change in momentum or mass times acceleration, you say it is force. Force times displacement, you say it is work. Then where comes the concept of field? That's what we are going to see now. So we'll go to the electric force equation, 1 by epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. I'll also write gravitational force is equal to g, mass of one, mass of second body, divided by the distance through which it is separated. So m is equated to q. Here this is, you say it's a molecule. Here it is either an electron or a proton. So here we are talking about gravity. Here we are talking about electric charge. So there are two charges, let's say q1 here and then q2 here, separated by a distance r, and people are very happy saying it's a r square law. What is this real r square law which is getting applied in electricity or gravity? Okay, so that is something which we have to understand. So from here, sorry, I left this off. Okay, so by definition, people who have gone into electrical engineering, you will know that what is, now you know what is force. If I want to know what is field, by mathematics, what will they explain to you? How is the field understood? You are asked to take this q2 on the other side. So force divided by charge is what we are told it is. By definition in the book, this is what is called as a field. Correct? Force per unit charge. But if you try to understand this way, you are lost. Okay? But if you come to this side, you take only this q1. Imagine there is only one electron, okay, sitting somewhere here. So this is this charge which has some effect. Then what is this 1 by epsilon naught telling us? Whether the charge is in a vacuum, or is it in air, or is it inside water. Okay? If it is in vacuum, you will have maximum force. If it is in atmosphere, it will have reduction. If it is in water, it is still reduced. Okay, so that is why this epsilon naught term is coming. It's called, what is the word used for this epsilon naught? Some of you remember? Permeability or something like that, right? Whatever the reduction term depending upon the medium. Then comes this beauty, this 4 pi r square. You have to, you should not talk it as r square law, you should call it as 4 pi r square law. Okay, why so is because geometrically what is 4 pi r square? Surface area of a sphere, right? So instead of going into this 3-dimension, we will take a very, very simple example. Let's say we are sitting on a table and there is a pizza kept at the center. Okay, it's a small table with 1 meter radius. Pizza size is same, like this electron, you call it as a pizza. So if it's a 1 meter table, how many people can sit around it? Like that, staying close to each other. Maybe because of social distancing, I am putting 3 meters, whatever, like you can apply. But depending on this radius, these people can share this single pizza, right? What happens if I increase this radius? This initially 1 meter, now I take it to, let's say, 3 meters. Okay, this single pizza can be shared by many, many people, which means the share is less here or less here. Pizza size is same. As the radius increases, the share will keep on reducing. Okay, so it is related by this formula. If you take 2-dimensional, 2 pi r. Okay, this E, that charge or the pizza divided by 2 pi r circumference. Okay, this is 2-dimensional. If it is 3-dimensional, it becomes a sphere. It's a surface area. So the same thing, instead of 2 pi r, you divide by 4 pi r square. Okay, so what does this mean? The single thing, depending on the radius, how it gets diluted. If I am getting closer, I feel more power. If I go further and further away, if I stand in a specific point, it is shared by so many people. So the effect is less. So now what is the concept of field? So there is a charge. If I go nearby, I feel more effect. If I am standing here, I feel lesser effect. If I am there, I feel lesser and lesser effect. So because of that, they use the concept called field. And this is the visualization if you have. Now you will understand what is the concept of field. Okay? So force per surface area. So that's how the whole thing comes. So when you take to gravity, this 4 pi term is not there. Okay, what was the problem there? Because of this, there are so many confusions. Because in Newtonian days, okay, for a charge you can take the whole circumference, okay, but Newton worked on gravity. Gravity was one-dimensional phenomena. He derived it based on one-dimensional phenomena standing on the earth. He assumed this as a straight line, and there was another object. Here there is another object. This was not 3-dimensional dilution he was talking about. He was talking about a one-dimensional dilution, and there was only r square. It should have been 4 pi r square, which means whatever is the value of g now, okay, should be divided by 4 pi. Are you able to connect? Then this formula and this formula look similar. Why this epsilon naught is there? Because gravity can go through anything. But an electric charge can travel, depends upon the medium through which it travels. Magnetism, can you block magnetism? Okay, let's go step by step. Can you block gravity by any means? No way. Not possible. You take metal, titanium, lead, anything, it will go and just walk through. Okay? Gravity's ability is that. How about electric charge? Switch. You just put a switch, which means you have air, it can't go. If you have more voltage, it will ionize and then try to cross, like lightning. But if you create a vacuum, it cannot ionize anything, so it cannot travel. So electricity you can block. So that's why you have vacuum switches in explosives, godowns and stuff like that. If you have air, beyond a point the electrons get knocked out and it becomes ions, and ions will travel back and forth and you get the spark. So for homes and all, it's fine. But high energy environments, you have to have vacuum switches. So magnetism, can you block? You keep a magnet below the wood and then try to shake here with another magnet. Do you think magnet can pass through? Through paper, through rubber? It passes through anything. Okay, but there is a permeability. Only thing you can do with magnet is divert it. That is the concept in Interstellar of the Faraday's cage. Okay, you cannot block magnetism. You can only divert from one place to another. Okay, same way light, can you block? Yes. That's it. Anything I put it here, it stops there. It cannot pass through. Transparent and opaque materials we have. Sound, can we block? Yes. Okay. Heat, thermal, can we block? Yes. We can have shields and stuff like that. So what is that which we cannot block? Gravity. That's it. Okay? And magnetism. You can divert, but you cannot stop and ask it to reflect. That we cannot do.
What makes gravity that cannot be? Yeah, gravity to block. What's the special property?
I really don't know what is see, the moment you know what is causing it, then you will have a way of attacking it. Still down, people don't know what is causing gravity. We are saying mass, formula fits in, it works. We have known electron, proton, neutron, this is what is a molecule, everything we are saying. But till now we don't know what is the thing which is causing gravity. But mathematically it's matching. That's all it has. But logical reasoning we can always do. After seeing this, we can do thought experiments, right? Will nature allow gravity to be blocked? You reverse the question. If you are an engineer, you are designing this gravity system, this whole universal system, where like you have to have sun and planets have to go around and all that. Will you allow gravity to be stopped? Why? Superb. This is the same thing I came to. What I was thinking is, as an engineer, because I want to be famous, the best thing is to work on is to create a gravity shield. Suppose, let's say, using all my brain, I create a gravity shield. And I'm standing on the earth. I keep that shield in between sun and myself. Okay, what will happen to earth? Earth will run away from its orbit. It cannot still hold on its orbit. Right? So will nature allow me to shift the orbit of the earth? So this is how I asked myself and came to the conclusion, nature will not allow that to happen. It's just a logical questioning. But if you have a better questioning, then if there is a possibility, people will always keep doing it. Because gravity defying stunts, people are always fascinated doing that. So far, I wanted to do research into that because it was so fascinating. But because this question came up and the decision was like nature will not allow. So then there is no point doing that, so I left the path. That's how it goes.
One quick question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, major thing we're saying is mass causes gravity, right? Now, if we take Einstein, he says there's mass, therefore it causes some distortion in space-time fabric, it causes gravity. So, is it more accurate to say that mass causes gravity or space-time causes gravity? Because space-time is the field in which the mass exists.
What's the question? space-time or mass, which causes gravity. Give me some time. Let me just think. Huh? Just give me a few minutes. Okay. So now, இது எங்கிருந்து எடுத்துட்டு வரணும்னா, is there really something called a space? அங்கிருந்து இது ரீசன் அவுட் பண்ணோம். Let me just put it in the back. Yeah. Okay. What?
You said magnetism can only be diverted.
Yeah.
But there is magnetic grains.
Mm.
If you put a switch, it will attract.
Correct.
Then if you off it,
Yeah. Mm. அது வந்து it is like you have natural magnet, electromagnet. So natural magnetuக்கும் electromagnetuக்கும் what is the difference? ஒரு காயில் வச்சு அயன் ராடு காயில சுத்தி விடுறாங்க. When the electron flows, for that period all the electrons within the iron will spin in the same direction. One side will be north, another side will be south. So it becomes magnetized and it will go and attract. After the job is over, this external current will be stopped. So all of the internal electrons go back and it becomes a non-magnet. So that's how they do it. They don't stop the magnet. It's an artificial magnet. Natural magnet எடுத்து இதே பண்ண சொல்லுங்க பார்ப்போம். பண்ண முடியாது. And one of the reasons why even today very sensitive electrical electronic equipments are not covered with plastic. You electronics people should be able to say. Sensitive electronics எதுவுமே வந்து பிளாஸ்டிக்ல போட்டு கவர் பண்ணி தர மாட்டான். மெட்டலில் கவர் பண்ணி தருவான். ஏன்னா வர்ற மேக்னெட்டிக் இன்டர்ஃபரன்ஸை இந்த ஃபேரடேஸ் கேஜாக இது ஒர்க் ஆகி டைவெர்ட் பண்ணி விட்டுரும். இட் வில் நாட் affect the components inside. Transformerல இருக்கிற core is used for transferring it. Okay, through the space. அப்படி இப்படி அதாவது இங்கிருந்து எடுத்துட்டு போற ஸ்பேஸ் கம்மி டிரான்ஸ்ஃபார்மர் டிசைன்ல, அதனால அப்படியே பைப் மாதிரி எடுத்து கொண்டு போய் டைவர்ட் பண்ணி அதில் விட்டுறாங்க. ஸோ தட் ஃபேப்ரிகேஷன் இஸ் ஈஸி. ஓகே, பட் திஸ் கான்செப்ட் வாட் ஐ வாஸ் சேயிங் இஸ் த என்க்ளோஷர் இட் செல்ஃப். இப்போ இந்த most of it you can see, the first class audio systems, video systems, though metal is expensive, you will see that they are all made of metal. Only like cost volumes, people go for plastics, or they will have some other means of like taking away the magnetic interference. And IGCSE, I had one beautiful question. Like until then, I didn't know questions like this can be asked, which connects many things. They are asking, you can imagine an aircraft, okay, which is taking off in the north direction at a specific angle. Aircraft is made of aluminum. The question is, in which direction electrons flow? In the wing. Whether all the electrons will go to the left-hand side of the wing or right-hand side of the wing. This is the kind of the question which was asked in IGCSE +2 grade. Amazing it was. So unless you know what is Fleming's rule, and before that Faraday's principle, we can't answer this question. It won't be there in the books. It will be question from first principles, like, okay, how this is answered is, first of all, we should know what Faraday's law is. Okay, you have a magnet, you move a conductor closer to it, within the conductor, the electron will start moving. This is the basic principle, right? So this is Faraday's, like the principle on which your motors work, generators work, and all that. The moment you understand, okay, it starts moving, in which direction does it move? It is hitting at an angle. Then you use the magnetic flux formula and find out whether if I'm going in this direction, it goes to the left or to the right, and then you have charge accumulation. Now you see the next level of problem. What happens? There is lot of charge accumulate on one side, on another side there is no charge. There is a potential difference that is getting created, right? So many electrons there, negatively charged. This side there is no charge, and you automatically have a beautiful battery in an airplane. That's what we do, right? In a battery, what happens? There is a positive terminal, negative terminal. Negative terminal has more electrons. Positive has lesser electrons. So you are having a moving battery. It's havoc. So what is the choice? Somehow you have to carry all these electrons to the opposite side or diffuse it into the atmosphere. Okay, for diffusing in the atmosphere, you will see in aircraft wings some small projections of metal. Like in a lightning arrestor, you have sharp objects so that electrons come in easily. Same way they have very sharp kind of these profiles through which these electrons dissipate. Amazing, simple things, but visualizing and analyzing is like that. And all these are derived from Faraday's law. If we don't know Faraday's law, many things we don't know. Okay, same way. I'll ask you a simple question. Let's say I have a turbine generated electricity. Okay, and solar generated electricity. From which one will I get AC? From which one will I get DC? Turbine is AC. Why? Let's take turbine first. Rotation நடக்கிறதுனால என்ன ஆகுது? இப்போ ஒரு சைடு போகும்போது எலக்ட்ரான் இப்படி வருது, இன்னொரு சைடு சவுத் போல் கிட்ட போகும்போது electron is reversing direction within the same wire, so you are getting alternating current. So what is the frequency of this alteration in India? 50 hertz. That's the precise reason. Why 50 hertz? There are two reasons. One is because only so many poles you can keep within the size of your turbine. You have to have magnets, right? If there are no magnets, you can't get currents which are flowing. So per second, if you need so many cycles, you distribute only so many magnetic poles which you can arrange within that size. And second logical question is, how much power is packed into that one? If the frequency increases, you can transfer more energy. If it is less, it will be lesser energy. And India uses 50 and US uses 60. I don't know what is the sanctity between 50 and 60, but people will have their own, I don't know whether it's a commercial reason or it's a genuine technical reason. Because compliance, so many things happen. So that's how it works. Okay. So now coming back here, there is something called as a force, and then this is how the field as a concept was introduced. And then now we can come to what is the meaning of potential. We all, V stands for voltage, and they say voltage means potential difference. So potential difference means, first of all, we should know what is potential. Can somebody say what is potential? Electric potential? Electrical electronics?
Something that pushes the electrons.
Correct. This is right. Technically, in physics terms, like I said, force into displacement is work. Can you define potential? See, this is the problem. I don't know how we are going to fix this. These are all there in 11th standard. We all finish college, like so many things. And these are basic day-to-day things that we use. And without having an understanding, we are also able to score and proceed and, okay, see this problem. So I don't really know how this can be fixed. And this is one of the reasons why we are not able to invent new products with so much of population, so much of certificates, academics, IITs and all that. We are not able to because we don't understand the fundamentals. Simple. Force into displacement is work. Field into displacement is what? Potential. That's all. Okay. If we don't have this understanding, then you cannot proceed that first chapter. Again, I still remember, I wanted to explain that Van de Graaff generator. Do any of you remember Van de Graaff generator? Because in order to explain that, you should understand static electricity, current electricity, what is a field, what is a potential. If you don't understand this, you cannot understand Van de Graaff. And in fact, we had that Van de Graaff in our lab, experimented with it. Then only this thing came. Because in books, the moment I saw 4 pi epsilon naught, there was no meaning. The moment the 4 pi was shifted here, the whole meaning came up from the same formula. This trick I learned from Isaac Asimov. Because I read in one of his books some other formula, he jumbled it and it gave meaning. Then that's the same logic, it was applied to this, and then the field and the potential concept was understood. So when they say gravitational acceleration, they mean acceleration. When they say gravitational field, they say this one, field divided by this the mass divided by the 4 pi r square thing. Okay, and then what is potential? Field into what is the expected displacement will give you that value. Yeah, so if you don't understand something, which means the moment you see mathematics, mathematics is the shortest form of representing things. This book எழுதுறவங்க ஏன் வந்து இதை எழுதுறாங்க அப்படின்னா they'd have not connected mathematics and physics. This is the fundamental problem. They think, okay, you put the formula, you will get the answer. Answer I will get. But a person who is reading, will they understand or what? No way. இங்கே தான் உங்களுக்கு அந்த புக்கில் வர பிரச்சனை. Formulas are beautiful, but still. இப்போ some of you, if you remember Gauss law, now you will know there will be somewhere one 4 pi will be sitting. Okay, if Newton had written gravitational formula considering the 4 pi, அந்த ஈக்குவேஷனில் அது வந்திருக்காது. Suddenly அங்கே jump in ஆகிறப்ப they have to factor and do an additional multiplication. Same thing happens when Planck's constant was derived. Because everything is derived based on the gravitational principles. Because 4 pi is not there in gravitational law, everywhere they add that 4 pi, and you don't understand the subject. எங்கிருந்து வந்துச்சுனே தெரியாது. I have a separate article which is written, I'll share the blog. If some of you are interested, you can just go step by step, it's written. Okay. So, this is okay? Fine. It just gives a comfort feel. Okay, ரொம்ப நாள் புரியாம இருந்தோ இவ்வளவுதானா மேட்டர்னா சரி ஓகே ரைட். Like all these things you can like relate. Sometimes they flux themselves, they'll say field. Okay, come on man, whether you are talking with respect to space or time or mass. Depending on that, there will be words. That's it. Okay? It cannot be beyond that scope. For each one, they will have a word. Okay. So, the top one is okay. Torque couple is okay. Okay, impulse and impact. These two things are... Can we have a break and come back? I think it's too long. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I think it should be kids. Kids. Kids... இல்லைம்மா இப்போ அந்த மைண்ட் இருக்குல்ல ஆமாம் சேம் இது ஆல்ரெடி ஒரு மைண்ட் செட் வந்துருச்சு அந்த மைண்ட் செட்டை நீங்கள் எப்படி மாற்றுவீங்க ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் ஐ ட்ரைட் சி இன் அ காலேஜ் வி எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டட் 2 years we filed 5 patents 2 of our inventions were covered in a television channel from scratch புதிய தலைமுறையில் பண்ணாங்க even then they said no you are doing it wrong. And they wanted to resort to saying that answer filling and all that. So that's why I came out of the college. Before being a teacher, I read some 5,000 books. After becoming a teacher, I couldn't read one book. So that is the real serious situation because it's become a system. That's why that Gurukula, why it was famous, or the individual starting business, why it was good was because the guys who started have a vision. Whether it is good or bad, they go behind it and die. Right? But when the mass gets collected, the people who are there, they don't even know why they are teaching.
Okay, first problem. What is the attribute of a teacher?
He or she should try to remodel or rethink and ஒவ்வொரு நாளுமே அந்த ப்ராசஸ் டிஸ்ட்ரக்ஷனும் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷனும் நடந்துகிட்டே இருக்கு.
இருக்கணும். மெயின் நம்ம ஊரில் லேக் ஆகிறது என்னன்னா, யூ டோன்ட் ஹாவ் த ஃபீல்ட் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ். இப்போ எங்கள் கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் யாரோ படிச்சிருந்தீங்க, அந்த கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ்க்கு வாத்தியாராக வந்த யாராவது ஒருத்தர் வெப்சைட்டாவது டிசைன் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்களா? இல்லையா? இதே மாதிரி தான் எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் ஒரு சர்க்கியூட்டை டிசைன் பண்ணிவிட்டு நான் இந்த வாத்தியாராக வந்திருக்கிறேன்னு சொன்னால் அவங்ககிட்ட உட்காந்து கேட்கலாம். ஒரு
ஒன்று ரெண்டு பேர் இருந்தாலும் they are getting spoiled in the system.
they can't survive. ஒன்றுமே பண்ண முடியாதுமாங்க. ஐ எம் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஐ வாஸ் தேர். Yeah, I was saying, I don't know. I was in industry. I came to learn. Give me whatever work related to this. I'll burn my time. I said, no. So that's where. So it's the attitude. See, unless people with experience take the stage, it's not going to work. They should live in. See, உங்களுக்கு விவசாயம் பழகணும் அப்படின்னா பாட்னி டீச்சரை கூப்பிட்டு வந்தால் பண்ணுவீங்க. யார் டீச்சராக வராங்க? எந்த வேலையும் கிடைக்கலன்னா டீச்சர் வேலை. This was the truth, and it was a very very comfortable life, right? But today டீச்சர்னு வெளில சொல்கிற கேவலமாக இருக்கு. நிஜமாக சொல்கிறேன். முதல்லலாம் வந்து மாதா பிதா குரு தெய்வம்னு சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டாங்க. இப்போ அங்கே வந்து இந்த டீச்சர்னு சொன்னால் காரி துப்பாத நிலமையில தான் பார்க்க. அதனால் ஐ நெவர் அட்மிட் ஐ எம் a டீச்சர். இட்ஸ் த worst profession today. ஏன்னா people have stooped to that level, ma. See, you go to a faculty, he doesn't even know what is the answer for that question. And second thing is, I was asked to do corrections for the semester exams. Who is coming for correcting is a person from some other subject. There is not even an answer key. They are taking it, 25 papers, in 15 minutes, marks allotted, and they move away, taking away that 500, 600 rupees. You go for a doctorate, you want them to be polished. For nothing. 3 lakhs you pay, your journal publication happens. And on top of it, we can all do that. If that guy who is holding that PhD doctorate is an authority on that subject, we will fall at their feet. But these guys don't know anything. Asking very simple question like, okay, can you explain me velocity? They'll see us as though they know it, and they think like, okay, later I realize they don't know. They don't know velocity, they don't know force, they don't know what is total derivative, partial derivative. None of this is known. Leave alone, arithmetic is not known. So what will you do with such people? And they are there glorifying, and then you get 6th pay commission and all that. So it's a systematic degradation which is happening around.
I was telling the class the other day, since I had the luck to be in a experience abroad, second year philosophy of science in our class, it's called different names. For social sciences, it's called evidence proven knowledge. For sciences, it's called something different. Emphasis of people now. Sciences like you'll study Karl Popper, Thomas Kuhn. India you'll study Lakatos and all these guys.
Okay.
And you cannot take the next course.
Oh.
So first you have to know epistemology. What is knowledge? Right? So how do we decide what knowledge is? What is the criteria? So therefore, if we decide what knowledge is, then what is science? What counts as science? What is pseudoscience? What is the criteria? Then what is experiment? What is hypothesis? The second year medically, you cannot move to the next stage.
That's true.
Even if you are a powerful person, military level, second year course, I'll pass on. Second year course. அதான் அவங்க காப்பி அடிச்சு அதில் பண்ணி ட்ரை பண்ணுவாங்க. கிட்டத்தட்ட வாங்கி ஒரு D grade, F grade வாங்கி போயிடுவாங்க. But that is, in India, we don't have a philosophy of science department. Even in IITs. This is unbelievable for me. But I just heard this 5 days back. I was like,
That's how it is. Okay, as a final thing, I want to tell you what is past, present, future. How much is present? I learned from Vivekananda, apart from journeying all through the history books and all that. I was flipping through Vivekananda, and he put it very nicely. Only from spiritual or physiology perspective you can answer what is present. He said beautifully, present is the duration between your inhalation and exhalation. Okay, if this is stopped, there is no past, present, future. Very happy. Okay, that is what is present means. That is like Planck's constant. Present constant can be this breathing cycle. So when people say, are you aware in the present moment? It could be, this breathing, are you able to observe? Okay? Alternatively, when they say, are you aware? What they are saying is, the moment I came into this, awareness about what do I know about my surroundings. Am I inside a building, this, that, this. This awareness, what way does it help me? How can I react? Because day one I came, I asked somebody to take the bottle and keep it next side. Okay, that person was aware of the situation, because of that she complied. If I did it outside, she had every right to complain to police. This guy is harassing me. Right? So this is situational awareness. So like this, there are multiple levels of awareness. If you are aware about your lifetime, I am going to live for 60 years, 80 years, 100 years, not more than that. And better still, life becomes more meaningful if you divide the lifespan into days. Have you ever thought about how many days we have spent and how many days more we are left? That gives a different perspective altogether. Every day you want to do something. Though doing something doesn't have no value to the whole thing, we will be driven. Okay? So this is awareness. So awareness, like purpose, is not single. So if somebody asks, are you aware? Are you mindful? You can ask, mindful about what? Aware about what duration? If it is within the cycle, that's what pranayama helps to do. Okay, what do they say? They say, observe the breath. So that is the shortest duration of present which you can experience. And it also helps you to cut off all other senses. And there is another resonance capability which this also brings. Okay, this is done by experienced yogis. I met one person in Salem. Like if you sit with him, far also over phone, you do the same breathing rate as he does. He instructs. He gives some syllables and says, okay, now you inhale, now you exhale. After 2-3 minutes, he will just allow you and then tell you what went through your mind. Can you believe? That is breath synchronization. Amazing demonstration it was. Very much, he is there in Salem, and he has written a book called Nada Tamil, the pretty old form of Tamil in which only sound, different forms of sounds were used to communicate and transfer knowledge. So then you got Sangha Tamil and Tolgabhya Tamil, whatever. So it's amazing technology which is there in this biological body, but we are trying to go through semiconductor system. So yeah, yes, I have that book. If you want, I'll give it to you. Amazing that he got it after 40 years of meditation. So meditation and yoga, it goes beautifully well together. It's the most efficient way of keeping our mind and body in the best form, and with limited food. Okay. So past, present, future is okay? Okay, fine. So we call it a day? Thank you. So, right. Thank you. Thank you all. It has been an amazing experience for me also. Thank you. When? Next week. Yeah, next week. Yeah, that whatever list you get. Yeah, with that we will do. Exam perspective, question எந்த மாதிரி வரும்னு ஏதாவது 1-2 question கொடுக்குறீங்களா? 1 or 2 questions you send, so I will know what